Let's talk Derrick Henry going in that same range. Actually, a little bit higher in Yahoo drafts. He's the 14th overall player, running back 6, a couple spots ahead of Kyron Williams. Everybody seems to be in on Derrick Henry, John Paulson, which is why I've been getting nervous about it, because it just, when we're all in agreement on something, it definitely is going to go wrong, especially when it's an aging run. Like everybody always usually wants to fade aging running backs, but it's universally, it seems that the exception is being made for Derrick Henry, who I love. I love Derrick Henry. I love the idea with the Ravens. So is there any way that this can't go wrong, or is there any way this can go wrong, John? Am I just totally fearful of the consensus building here?
No, if you want a guy who's ageist and is going to write off a running back at age 30, who is built like a Mack truck, yes, he could get injured, and that's going to be the way it goes wrong. I think that's the only way it goes wrong. If he does, go down with a foot injury or pulls a hamstring or something weird, knocks him out for several games, because on paper, this is a match made in heaven. Henry, his stats were still, like, his advanced stats were still really good. He had the number 6 rushing grade at PFF. He was number 11 in yards after contact per attempt, 16th in broken tackles per attempt. So still really solid. Tennessee running backs averaged 2.2 yards before contact last year, and Ravens running backs averaged 3.2 yards per contact, or yards before contact last year, which, if you think about it, that's just, number one, it's just adding a yard per carry for Henry, but you're also giving Derrick Henry an extra yard to build up speed. And I know they lost some players, but it seems like the Ravens just sort of reload it on the offensive line. So as long as that offensive line is, 80-90% of what it was last year, this is going to be a big improvement for Derrick Henry. He's not going to catch a lot of passes. They've got other players in that offense to do that. I am a proponent of giving him one target per quarter just to see what happens, because if he catches it and gets ahead his team going, you might be looking at a touchdown. And let me just say this to you, and if you disagree, let me know, but he is legit 20 touchdown upside in this offense. And it might be 20 rushing touchdowns. I don't know. But this offense has averaged 15 running back touchdowns since 2020. So there's no reason that Henry can't meet that and perhaps exceed it, in my view.
Yeah, and by the way, you're not the first person that said that to me. And that's my concern. Which is a stupid concern. But the fact that everybody does seem to want to break look, if there's a guy that we should break the rules for, it should be Derrick Henry, because he has already broken the rules, right? Like, running backs, as you said, should not be built like that. That is not normal for running backs to do that. We've already seen him thrive at an older age. Last season, this is a much, much better ecosystem. Yeah, the Ravens' offensive line might take a step back, because they've had 3 starters leave. One of their starters, Ronnie Stanley, who's returning, is definitely a shell of himself, because he used to be a true all-pro player. Now he's a guy they're kind of concerned about from an injury perspective. They rotate him a little bit. Whatever. All that is still better than whatever was going on in Tennessee last year. So I have definitely found myself ranking Derrick Henry ahead of consensus. I'm with you on this one. One that I thought was interesting, because I've heard plenty of people talk positive about Derrick Henry. I haven't heard a lot of people, John Paulson, want to talk up DeAndre Swift, but you have him as a player you have ranked ahead of consensus here, and he feels like the most boring running back pick on the board, John. So I don't know. Maybe you can get my juices flowing here about DeAndre Swift.
I don't understand the anti-Swift, like, oh, he's boring or what. Like, isn't he like a really talented running back? He's got the number 0. He's got a black visor. Like, he looks like Darth Vader. Like,
well, the 0 does nothing for me. I don't like the 0. I'm anti-0. I'm just going to get that on the record. As soon as Calvin Ridley was 0 last year, everyone's like, oh, that's cold. Nah, yeah, it makes my blood cold. I don't like it. All
right. Well, that kind of undercuts my argument a little bit.
You don't have to indulge that. That is one of my boomer takes. Okay, that the 0 thing is bad. You don't have to agree with me on that.
He was Swift was RB17 last season, and that was as the lead back for most of this. He started behind Kenneth Gainwell at the start of last year, and then won that pretty quickly, won that job pretty quickly. 268 touches, 1,263 total yards. Didn't score many touchdowns due to the Jalen Hurts push, brotherly shove. So coming into this offense, I do think they gave him a pretty good contract, so that signals to me that they wanted him and have a plan for him. I think Khalil Herbert's probably better than people give him credit for. Rashawn Johnson's fine. Those two could, push Swift for some touches here and there, but I think Swift will be that 60%, 65% lead back in this offense, given that contract and given his talent. So he's going, I don't know, you tell me in Yahoo. I've seen him in the low end RB2, high end RB3 type rankings, 6th round. I just feel like DeAndre Swift in what should be a pretty good offense, lots of running lanes with all these receivers. If Shane Waldron can figure it out, he's going to be productive, and he can catch passes as well. And last season it's hard to look at that because it's changing coordinator, but the running backs combined for 72 catches last year. So if that sort of holds, then Swift does have like 40 or 50 catch upside, and he does have the ability to catch the ball and run the ball. I think I don't know. I don't get the, blah sort of vibes around DeAndre Swift. I got him in the 6th round of our mock yesterday, and it's a pretty exciting pick for me.